PD homicide detectives were back out in West Houston today. This side street along I-10 is where the body of Alexis Sharkey was discovered by a city crew Saturday morning. Detectives spent time today reviewing surveillance video captured by this camera on a local business. Police are hoping something on that video will help them figure out what happened to Alexis Sharkey. The 26-year-old was popular on social media, mentoring her thousands of followers about beauty and wellness. The Pennsylvania native moved to Houston with her husband in January.
They lived in down in West Texas before this.
Friend Tanya Ricardo spent Thanksgiving with Alexis and says this may be the last photo of her friend alive.
We're all just very confused. We need answers.
Meanwhile, friends are using a crowdfunding campaign to raise money for Alexis's family and funeral.
I ended up being her trainer at Twins.
They started as co-workers.
We kind of clicked, and it turned out to us hanging out all the time.
But soon became much more.
She was very open, very sweet and caring.
Before Alexis Sharkey moved to Houston, she lived in Odessa, where she worked at the restaurant Twin Peaks.
Days off, we were laying out tanning. Then we get ready, go out, have some fun.
Alexis's friend and former co-worker, who asked us not to identify her, says they were instant friends.
At the time, her and her ex-fiance were not doing so good. So I kind of stepped in, helped her get out of that.
She says it was her who helped introduce Alexis to her husband, Tom.
He was one of our regulars. He would come in, talk to us, make us laugh. They clicked. And just watching them click and they're laughing, they're smiling, and I was like, all right.
Alexis eventually moved, but the two kept in touch, and she followed Alexis's journey and success on social media.
I was proud of her. She went out there and she did something where she could still travel and see the world, all while influencing other people's lives.
But when she heard the news of Alexis's tragic death,
like, it's not okay what happened to her. It's not.
Her heart stopped.
I've never met anyone with the purest soul until I met her.
And now she, like so many others, just wants to know what happened.
I hope her family gets what they need.
For John Richardson, it's a Saturday morning he'll never forget.
It plays back in my head. You know, it's been playing back in my head every day.
He was at work for the City of Houston Solid Waste when Richardson says he got a call from an employee.
He said he thought he seen a body or a mannequin, so he wasn't for sure. He wasn't going to stop because he was kind of, he was scared or whatever case may be. So he asked me to come out there and check it out.
So as his supervisor, Richardson went to check it out and still can't believe what they found.
As we was driving, we could see the feet, so we got out and looked, and there it was. She was laying there, deceased. She was no clothes on, and I just got on the phone and I called 911.
What Richardson didn't realize at the time, the body he had just discovered was 26-year-old Alexis Sharkey.
She was a beautiful, fun ray of light to be around, and I can't understand it.
Her mom, Stacy Robinault, spoke to us by phone.
I think that's why it's so surreal for the family, because we cannot grasp on why harm would be done to her.
Saying even though it's been agonizing,
we're just trapped in the waiting.
They're just waiting for police to do their work.
I talk to the detectives every day, and they assure me that they are, working along and that they are reviewing and talking to people. And so I know that they're working along. To me, 5 days feels like an eternity, and to them, I'm sure they're just, getting rolling.
Police still have not determined a cause of death in the case, but in her heart, Robinault fully believes someone did this to her daughter.
I guess my question would be why? Why would you do something so horrific?
26-year-old Alexis Sharkey. Her body was found Saturday on the side of a West Houston road. As detectives work to find out what happened, Alexis's friends are sharing more about the social media influencer and her life before she moved to Houston.
Like, when I saw her, I was like, I told her in private, I was like, she's radiating. Like, I'm so proud of you.
They're the words Brittany Pember will always remember.
That's when I first got to meet her.
spoken to her by a friend she'll never forget.
She was just like the light of the room. Like she was just so smart and just so funny.
Brittany has known Alexis Sharkey for a couple years now. The two met through their work with Monet, a company that sells hair and skincare products, where Brittany says Alexis worked her way to the top, becoming executive director.
She worked her butt off to get where she was.
Alexis met so many of her friends through Monet and her many work trips.
I got that, nice.
That's where she also met Lauren.
She's grown to be such a good friend to me, and I just can't believe she's gone.
Lauren says before Houston, Alexis once lived in Midland, Odessa, and that's where she met her husband, Tom. She says the two moved to Grand Junction, Colorado for about 4 months in 2019.
I know she absolutely loved it, and just traveling and being with her friends and exploring was her favorite things in the entire world.
And she says the couple moved to Houston this past January.
So I don't think everyone understands how good at ziplining we are.
But now detectives are trying to find out what went wrong.
I mean, without a doubt in my mind, foul play was involved.
His husband of nearly a year changed everything.
What did he say to you?
He said that she's missing, that no one knows where she's at. And at that point, friends began to call as well. I mean, everybody was frantic.
The next day, her worst fears came true. A naked body discovered by a garbage truck driver near a Houston interstate was identified as Alexis.
We're completely devastated and broken.
Police have not released a cause of death or any suspects yet, but Alexis's friends, all fellow social media influencers, say she feared for her safety.
I looked at her and I was like, she's petrified. This girl is scared for her life.
Another friend told the Daily Beast that Alexis confided in her that she and her husband were having marital problems and that he had been putting hands on her. There were also reports she wanted a divorce. When social media erupted with commentary about the husband, he lashed out on Instagram, denying there was trouble in the marriage and saying he's helping with the investigation. If my wife would have seen this, she would be disappointed in your actions. You all should be ashamed of yourselves. Next time, stop and think and realize you don't know it all. Reporter Steve Campion with KTRK-TV in Houston has been speaking with Tom Sharkey by phone.
I asked him about the last time that he had seen Alexis, and he said, I saw her, she was leaving, I told her not to drive under the influence, I told her not to drive intoxicated, she went anyways, and that's where we're at, is what he said. And I said, what do you mean by that? Where was she going? When you asked for specifics or you tried to ask for details, he wouldn't provide those.
Stacy Robinault shared a post reporting the young woman missing.
What do I remember about that day, except for, you know, those things you regret, the thing of, oh, I haven't responded back about her coming to Christmas, because we were talking on Wednesday. I got to get back with her and get that finalized. And we were just settling in after decorating for Christmas, and then we got the horrible call that she was missing.
According to Houston police detectives, Alexis was wearing no clothing and showed no signs of visible wounds. How she died is still under investigation.
I don't understand. I am 100% confident that this is something that my child did not do to herself. And I don't know. I don't know what I don't even know. I can't comprehend how she got where she was in the manner she was.
Shocked family and friends have taken to social media to express their grief over the sudden loss of a woman who freely shared her love of travel, self-care, and fashion with the world through her Instagram account.
And you're supporting people instead of large middleman chains.
She was incredibly intelligent. She graduated summa cum laude from college in a biology degree. She is very analytical and logical, a loving human being that just lit up everywhere.
Online, she often featured her husband, Tom Sharkey, seen here in a travel video on her YouTube page last year at a Colorado national monument. The pair posed together in this Halloween costume photo 5 weeks ago. Friends of the couple say Alexis was seeking a divorce. Meanwhile, Stacy says she won't rush to make theories on who is responsible, focusing instead on justice for
She's from Fox 26 Houston. Ivory, can you explain kind of the timeline of this situation and who Alexis was? It's just so unfortunate to hear things like this.
Yeah, it all began actually on Friday. Alexis's friends told me today that they noticed something was wrong when she stopped posting on her Insta story. She's an influencer who promotes products, and it was Black Friday, so she should have been posting a lot, but it all ceased sometime on Friday. Then Friday night, Alexis's husband reaches out to one of Alexis's good friend's boyfriend, and he said to him, hey, you know what? I can't find my wife. We got in a fight. She took off, and I don't know where she is. That was about 9:30 Friday night. And so the word was passed on to the friends. The friends start reaching out to her, no response. Then Saturday morning, a City of Houston employee was driving down this sparsely populated road near the interstate in West Houston, and he noticed feet protruding from the bushes in the ditch of the road. That is when a naked body was found, turned out later on to be confirmed to be Alexis Sharkey, the missing influencer. So her body was found just pretty much hours after she was reported missing by her husband, and there were no visible injuries on her body. She was just naked in the bushes. No word on how she ended up there. So today, police tell me they have seized surveillance video from the one business that was on that road, which was a beauty salon. So that beauty salon, I went out there today, it does have a camera facing the roadway. Police won't say yet what they found on that video footage. So her friends are very hopeful right now that that will lead to some answers and what happened to this young woman. They tell me that she was married to her husband about a year ago, but just in the past month, they filed for divorce. I tried reaching out to him for comment today. He has not gotten back to me, but he has been posting a lot about her on his Facebook, a lot of photos, and expressing that he is heartbroken on his Facebook.
For you, as far as friends and family go, it's kind of interesting that they are being so open to speaking with all of you reporters. I saw that her mom is also speaking out. What are they saying about the situation and about her husband in particular?
Well, the two friends of hers that I spoke with, they told me that they just felt that the more open and expressive they could be about this case, that hopefully it would just bring on more answers, the more exposure this case could have. They were just so shocked that this would happen to such a sweet person, and one friend actually told me that apparently there were some pretty bad issues that Alexis had been dealing with, and she had just kept it low-key and not told anyone what was going on because she was such a positive spirit. She didn't want to just cast negativity on her friends by talking about her issues, but apparently there were some things going on that those friends tell me they are not ready to just tell the whole world yet because they haven't even spoken with detectives yet. So they said they have evidence they're waiting to share with the detectives. They don't want to compromise the case by sharing it with the media first, but they said this girl was just the sweetest soul that you would ever meet, and they're
interaction or role with his wife, and we asked her mother what her impression of Tom Sharkey has been. Take a listen.
I know that when we spend time together, we enjoy him and we've had fun with him. I know that I've never been fearful of my child around him. You know, that's not ever a vibe that we've gotten from him. He works internationally, and so he comes and goes a lot. But really, to simplify it, I'm very neutral on that. I'm not. I know people very hard when I interview are trying to push me to see if I have these concerns about him, and we never did.
You know, she's so strong. Through the course of that interview, you can see that she really is just determined to get answers. She says people have been reaching out over social media in response to her posts, giving her information that she didn't know that she thinks is going to be helpful in this investigation.
Ashley, you know, in this situation, it's so early on that there's so many unanswered questions at this point, you know, but he's still under attack, you know, on social media and other places. We understand people will do that. But at this point, I think the first question really has to be, how did she die?
Sure, and they can walk and chew gum at the same time. They're going to be wondering about that autopsy, but they're going to be looking at everything, combing social media, combing perhaps whatever evidence they may be able to find in the family home. Maybe they have subpoenaed the cell phones and the computers from the residents. You know, I covered this story a couple of years ago in Houston of a Houston realtor who went missing, and she had a good relationship with her husband. However, they were split, living together for the sake of the children, but split, and she had a boyfriend. And, you know, it was such a mysterious disappearance. Ultimately, it ended up being the husband and not the boyfriend, even though it looked like it might be the boyfriend. So looks can be deceiving. Things can sound odd. I think it's terrible that this husband is getting death threats. We are, you know, innocent till proven guilty in this country. I hate to even have to say that out loud, but you do. It is sad that that's what the social media world, you know, thinks to do first. But the truth of the matter is that investigators will look to him first just to clear him if they can. I think this is a story that we should stay on because oftentimes, I mean, listen, I have done this job a long time, and it doesn't often take too long before arrows start pointing towards suspects and investigations start zeroing in.
Absolutely. Julia, the other challenge here for the family is this family's not from Texas, right? They're from Pennsylvania, and they want to bring her back there. What challenges have they faced?
Right, Stacey, Ramadan is there in Pennsylvania. That's where the bulk of their family lives. And their goal is, of course, to either get to Texas or to bring her remains back to Pennsylvania once the investigation is done. She says there, of course, are challenges with that. One of the most difficult things in talking to her about this story is that she hadn't seen her daughter since last Christmas, and not for lack of trying, but because of COVID-19 restrictions on travel, that they kept pushing the date back, and this coming Christmas was going to be a time that they would all be together. She talked about the overwhelming support that people have made on a GoFundMe page that friends have set up to help support this family and get them the help that they need in this trying time.
Road that's pretty easy to miss just off I-10 West in Houston Saturday morning. Surveillance video showed a car near the ditch. The video now part of the investigation. Also a big question right now. Did Sharkey's job as a social media influencer play a role in her death? She shared a lot of details about herself, from her personal life to her skincare routine to pics of her husband on social media.
In this particular instance, with 20,000 plus followers, I mean, those people all potentially could be, you know, they could have some sort of, I don't know, axe to grind or something with this person.
As for Sharkey's husband, Tom, he says his marriage to Alexis was strong, and when she was stressed, he would comfort her. But now he says he's receiving death threats. As for her friends, they tell reporters
Welcome to a very sad story that we're looking at today, and pretty much the mystery on what happened to Alexis Sharkey. She was found dead off the Houston roadway. Very concerning, very concerning. With that being said, I want to say that everybody's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I mean, I am very concerned about this situation, but more curious of this mystery. This is quite a mystery to me, and it's really grabbed at my curiosity from what I read. I read in Newsweek that her husband's getting death threats. You know, so I have to ask myself, why is he getting death threats? I mean, this man is, I'm sure, grieving the loss of his wife, or hopefully grieving the loss of his wife. So why is he getting death threats? I'm curious about that. What bothers me also is that he quoted that he's got something bothering him. What bothers me, he is saying, and this is him now, what bothers me is that the world and everybody in it focuses on all the stuff that doesn't matter. Should have been focused on finding my wife. So the world and everybody in it focuses on stuff that doesn't matter. Should have been focused on finding my wife. Listen, I understand trauma. I understand people grieve differently. So, let's see where this goes, right? Then also he says everybody's still looking for her. And I located her Sunday morning in the coroner's office. Well, he's not the first one that found her. Someone found her body dumped off a highway, dead and naked. Okay? He's saying everybody was still looking for her, and I located her Sunday morning in the coroner's office. I understand his grief. I understand the trauma that's probably going on here. I'm just curious about this situation so far. We didn't fight when she left. He says, I just told her she couldn't drive under the influence. She left anyway. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen the difference in size between her and her husband. Obviously, this guy looks like he's in shape. He lifts weights. But anyway, we didn't fight when she left. I just told her she couldn't drive under the influence. She left anyway. What do you mean you wouldn't fight with her? You didn't fight with her. Okay, you didn't fight with her? Why didn't you fight with her? Why would you let her leave under the influence and get into a vehicle? Or maybe she wasn't in a vehicle. No, he says here, she couldn't drive under the influence, so she had to be in a vehicle. Okay. So now she's a danger to herself and to other people on the road because she's under the influence. Well, I just can't understand why you didn't have a fight with her. Get the keys off her, not allow her to drive. Of course, not get physical with her. Call the cops. She won't stay home. Alexis's mother believes she was murdered according to ABC 13. That's concerning to me. Why would her mother say that? I'm very curious about that as well. Yeah, this case has really piqued my curiosity. And with that being said, I want to send our deepest sympathies and condolences out to Tom Sharkey and to his family. This is a terrible situation that their loved one was found murdered alongside of a highway.